Washington, D.C. Bureau reporter Samantha-Jo Roth has been investigating. She joins me now from Washington. Good evening, Samantha-Jo.
Good evening, Josh. Yeah, the White House is saying this is going to be a major week for infrastructure as they're rolling out this plan that the president has been touting. $200 billion of that, they say, is going to come from federal funding, but the rest of it is going to go towards local and state governments, and they're going to have to pick up that burden and provide the rest of the funding, which may not be great news to, states like New York City or states like New York and New York City. The proposal is not one that offers large sums of federal funding to states for infrastructure needs, but instead a financing plan that shifts much of that funding burden onto states and onto local governments. And for now, the White House is suggesting that lawmakers cut money from elsewhere in the budget, including some existing infrastructure programs. But critics say the president isn't providing a viable way to pay for this initiative. So it's a very interesting thing that's happening right now with this plan. A lot of, state and local governments are going to have to pick up the pieces for this, especially when you talk about places like, the Gateway Plan, which is very important to New York City.
Right, that's connecting New York and New Jersey. The administration, I guess, believes that it's a local project, but actually Amtrak trains on the busiest corridor, the northeastern corridor, use it. Let me ask about this. I looked in what the president said, his remarks. The White House puts out a transcript. Do a little search for mass transit or for railroad or for railway or for subway. Nothing, but I did notice that road was mentioned several times. Your read on whether this is going to be helpful at all for his hometown city? After all, more of us rely on subways and buses than we do cars.
Well, Josh, absolutely. This is a huge issue for New York City. I was speaking with a former Obama official who worked in the Department of Transportation, and she feels that this plan really slashes funding for roads, for bridges, and for rails, which is obviously essential. And she says that, the federal funding is not going to be there, which is what has really held up this project in the first place, the Gateway project, but as well as subways and railways. And, that this is going to be a major hurdle moving forward. But, it's really important to remember that this is just a framework that the president has put forth. The real test is it's going to have to move through Congress. So both the House and the Senate are going to have to come together to pass something. And so, they may not come together and see eye to eye exactly with the president's framework that he laid out today.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Samantha-Jo, thank you so much. It's time for a short